Welcome to Blowing Solutions Wide Open, where we're talking about all things spiritual as well as creating new systems in the area of healthcare, finance, government, education, and new environmental practices. My name is Addie Halkin. Thank you so much for joining me. If you think that you have ideas or things to share in any of the areas I just mentioned, please feel free to email me at blowingsolutionswideopen@gmail.com, or you can put the word guest in the comment section of this video, and I'd love to get back with you, potentially to bring you on the channel. That's what this channel is about. It's about hearing everyday people. It's about sharing what we know. I do think that is our key, one of our keys to really moving things forward right now. We are going through a big change on the planet. People are waking up a lot, and we need avenues to really make the shifts we're looking to make. And I do think one of our strongest avenues is through talking and hearing each other. If you think that you have ideas around making the planet better or helping humanity in areas that I did not mention, I'm also very open to that. Please feel free to reach out as well. And please like, subscribe, share, comment, all those things if you want to see more content and you have any interest in getting the alternative information out to more people. So anyhow, I wanted to talk today a little bit about an experience I had a couple days ago, and it was a download from Source. And for those of you who are not familiar with what I mean by a download, it has to do with a received thought. And that received thought usually comes from, God, source, universe, spirit, your spirit team, whatever whatever you think that works for you in that way. It doesn't matter how you label it, but it's really received information. Some of the ways that this can happen are, for example, like if you're driving in the car or maybe you're at home doing everyday chores, basically doing things that don't require a lot of thought, if any, sometimes can bring these things in because spirit has a way of getting in when we are kind of less in our mind. And it's usually some kind of thought that came out of nowhere or a light bulb goes off or something like that. And so pay attention to those, when that happens. That's often a download, that's often source information, and it's easy to ignore, but just pay attention to those subtle thoughts that come in, especially during times where you're not really thinking a lot at all. Anyhow, so this thought came in, I should say this download came in, and it was more like an experiential download. And honestly, those are the hardest to describe because the information was primarily through the experience that I had. And what it had to do with was Source wanted to get my attention about something. And it's almost like they lifted me kind of up out of my body and, put me in a higher perspective, which was very empowering and very freeing. But they showed me that one of the things that I do, and I think probably we all do, is it's easy for me to kind of ignore how I'm feeling at times. And they wanted to let me, and I think all of us know that just because something is really normalized in your environment, meaning the media's telling you this information, other people are telling you this kind of information, um, you know, the professionals on the planet are telling you this kind of information. Um, it's more important that you tune into how you feel around it. And I'm going to use the subject of leadership for an example right now. And one of the things I think that happens is that we all know about abuse of leadership. We see it all over the place on the world stage. A lot of us see it, from our bosses at work and things like that. We all know that, you know, um, when a leader is, being selfish, not the good kind of selfish, the kind of selfish of like, stepping on other people to get what they want or only caring about themselves and maybe their little inner circle. Um, that's, selfish leadership. And while we all kind of know that that's not right and we don't like how that feels, it's really easy, and I think a lot of us do this, where we kind of go, that's the way it is. Nothing I can do, that's the way it is. Or it doesn't even like register because it's so normalized and we're so used to it. And Source wants us to start taking a little bit more of a step back and observing when something feels off. Not for the not so that we dwell on it or that we uh get upset and stay stuck in our negative emotion around it, but so that we can get more clarity and more quickly turn in a different direction. They want us pivoting faster away from things that are normalized that really aren't good for us. Um, it's something we all do. And I was really shown, and again, it's hard to explain because it was more of an experience than anything else, but I was really shown that even though I know a lot of things are off here, there are times where it's just been fed to me so many times that it's like I don't even acknowledge, hey, this doesn't feel right. It's time to go a different direction. Um, Another example I wrote down some examples here are um, and this one I've actually been able to stay pretty awake with, but a lot of us I realize are not. And it has to do with the fact that we're being told that if you've got mental problems, you need to be on medication. This is what the doctors will tell you. This is what the commercials on the TV will tell you. This is what probably a large majority of the people around you will tell you. And I don't think it's true. I mean, it doesn't feel right to me. It's never felt right to me. I remember being a little kid and realizing there was something very wrong with that. Um, I personally don't see anyone better on pills than not on pills. And I know that there's uncomfortable emotions we experience by not being on medication, but there are plenty of healthy, natural things you can do to start shifting that. Many, many things. But because it's been so normalized, because, so many people are believing it, or if they're not believing it, they're just saying, well, there's nothing I can do about it. A lot of people are not pivoting and looking for different ways to feel better. And so Source wants us to start taking a step back and being more observant of how we feel, because that's how we start lifting the veil more and more. They were showing me personally, you think your veil has been lifted, but you still have layers. You still have things that you're ignoring because your environment has been so normalized in this way. And like I said, it was very empowering. It was very freeing. And it almost made me a little bit want to cry because I realized that I've been compromising myself to fit into a world that, while there's many good things here, there's many lies being told. And we kind of need to stop doing that with each other. And the first way that you stop telling lies to other people and to yourself is you start observing, does this feel right or not? And so that was kind of the basics of what they were telling me. I want to use a couple other examples just so that I can kind of be really clear about what this message was about. So this one is controversial, whatever. It's kind of what I do. And this was some years ago. I don't know how many, but there was a football player who was he was he was not happy about the national anthem. And so, while everybody else would stand up and have their hand on their heart and all these things before football games, and this was a professional football player, he started taking a knee and he started kneeling during the national anthem because he didn't agree with a lot of what he felt it stood for. Now, I am not a political person. This is not politics for me. I don't care about either party. It's none of that. But, you know, I think that he lost his career over doing something peaceful like that. He didn't get violent. He just literally took a stand and said, "This does not feel correct to me." And I do think it was wrong. He shouldn't have lost his career over that. And a lot of, I feel like a lot of people that condemned him and criticized him did not take a stance or did not take a step back and look at the national anthem and look at who came up with that. I realize there's some, you know, good things within the national anthem. I realize a lot of people respect it because it has to do with honoring those who have fought for this country, and I respect all of that. I don't think that this particular football player was trying to disrespect any of that. I think it had to do with other things around him feeling like the United States maybe doesn't respect certain ethnic groups or something to that nature. I don't know. I didn't pay a lot of attention to it. I just strongly felt that he had the right to take a step back and say, this doesn't feel right for me, and I'm gonna, you know, bow out. Um, but so many people had, you know, so many horrible things to say about him, and then, you know, a very uh, tyrannical, I would say, corporation decided to fire him because, you know, he took a step back and said, "How does this feel to me?" And he pivoted in a different direction. Um, and so I feel like just because it was such a normal opinion that he was wrong and that you're wrong if you don't support the national anthem doesn't necessarily make it true. And so Spirit is trying to get us to remove some of those polluted ways of thinking, some of those kind of veiled ways of thinking and almost like veiled ways of being and feeling. I don't know if that's making any sense, but I thought I'd kind of share that one because that was just something else that came to my head around, you know, all the things on this planet that are um, normalized, but yet not really normal to our souls. And so I just wanted to share that with you. We all have the ability to receive downloads. They're very powerful. I guarantee you, if you would have received the particular download that I received, you would have got more out of it than just having me explain it. So I'm encouraging you to pay attention to those nudges, pay attention to those thoughts that come in, especially when you're not thinking, and you know, pay attention to the subtle information. It's very subtle, it's very powerful, but it's very subtle. So you know, I feel like none of these words are that big of a deal, but as I experienced this download, it was eye-opening. I saw from a different perspective. So anyway, I hope you guys are having a great day. You know, keep tuning in more and more to that spiritual information. It's very powerful, especially with like shifting things forward right now. There's so much potential to shift things, especially when it comes to listening to your spirit team and your guides and source and God and all those things that know how to bring about change far better than any of us could guess. So, all right, guys, I hope you're having a great day. Take care.